James.
Trace, good evening from Geneva, where Secretary of State Kerry, ahead of tonight's showdown with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, said expectations are high, but they are more so, Kerry argued, for the Russians. Beforehand, Secretary Kerry spoke by telephone with the top leaders from the political and military wings of the Syrian opposition, President al-Jarba and General Idris, respectively. Kerry seeking to reassure the rebels, in effect, that the U.S. is not selling them out to achieve a deal on chemical weapons. Quote, in both calls, Kerry aides said afterwards, the Secretary made clear that he was seeking tangible commitments, that the Russians are interested in achieving a strong, credible, and enforceable agreement to rapidly identify, verify, secure, and ultimately destroy Assad's chemical weapons stockpile. Kerry reiterated that President Obama's threat of military action very much remains on the table, and that he, Kerry, begins today's talks with the Russians from a position of skepticism. And so it was in the main event, Kerry using his opening statement to reject Syria's request to have up to 30 days to submit an inventory of its chemical weapons stockpile, and also warning Lavrov and the Russian team of technical experts who were meeting with the U.S. delegation, quote, this is not a game.
It has to be real. It has to be comprehensive. It has to be verifiable. It has to be credible. It has to be timely and implemented in a timely fashion. And finally, there ought to be consequences if it doesn't take place.
Lavrov, a famously tough and sometimes sarcastic negotiator, shot back that he wasn't prepared to make a, quote, extended political statement, a rebuke of Kerry for having just done so, and adding, quote, diplomacy like silence. Lastly, the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has just released officially the letter he received from the Syrian government, its formal request to the United Nations for Syria to apply to join as a signatory the Chemical Weapons Convention enacted back in 1997. The more you look at all of this, Trace, the moving parts, the shifting rationales, the more of an uphill climb this looks, the more of a miracle it will be if this disarmament deal actually comes off. Trace?